All right, good afternoon. It is June 6, 2022. Before we start, I work in education, so this is my last week of work before the summer. Um, so I don't know when I'll be like what time of day I'll be uploading videos, but I'll still be making videos, just not as um, not as consistently and not at a specific time. But anyway, we had this big move up in the overnight. We have an overshoot leads to a break, and then you get a couple legs up to a new high, some congestion first, and then it just reversed on us. And so really what it ended up being today was just a huge range. Let me see if the highs and the lows, let's see if the midline has any. Yeah, so the midline, it didn't really have, it really felt like just a move up and a move down. So we'll take a look. I didn't see a whole lot that was good setups. So let's see, 5 o'clock comes in. I think, okay, so right about here. And you get this double bottom. Really just looks congestive. We know we're probably going to test these highs, but we don't know when. You get that overshoot that led to a break. Higher low, failed second entry short. I think that's a little risky after we get this new high. And it's not really off a trend channel, so I think that's too risky. But you might have taken that. First entry, second entry, kind of like a failed third entry, or no, that's actually just a third entry long, but so no setup there. And you really might consider this one. At this point, it's kind of counter trend, but it's a second entry short. You can see this right there, so you might consider that. But you got plenty of room to this support, so breaks out, counter trend, and you get a really bullish signal bar. And then yeah, we should come up here. That fails out that way. Nothing here, but then we get this, hit this level of support right here. I do believe this ended up being the trend. You can see it responding, prices responding to the midline. Come down here, bounce once, bounce a second time, bounce a third time, and you actually get this. So you might consider that. It's just a higher low though. It kind of looks like this is like a new low, first failed second entry, but it's not. So not a whole lot here. We come up here, we form this level of support, and technically I do think that this is a second entry, but that's too risky at that point. When we break out counter trend, we get this first failed second entry, and that's off of the trend channel. So you might consider that. But you might have had your trend channel drawn a little steeper. It's hard, man. It's hard to say. But when we get that double test right here, I think you can take that, but you're going into this this trend channel. So a lot of risky entries today. Here we get a first entry, second entry short. That's right at these highs. And that's when prices just reverse, and no entries in here. We form this pink range. First entry failed, second entry short, but it doesn't set up. It's below the EMA. And if you want to take this higher low, you might consider that. But this one you can't take. And we come up here and come down, and you get this failure, but that's clearly in a range. Comes up here, breaks out the high side, and that's a second entry short, first entry, second entry. I like that, but this is clearly a channel up, so it's a little risky. But then that forms a potential trend channel, and when we get this lower high, we broke out of the range counter trend. You get a lower high here. I took this trade. I shouldn't have. You're jumping the gun. That signal bar is trash. Maybe if you're reading the chart very well, though, you can enter on this. It's a second entry, terrible signal bar, but if you know what's happening here, I think, I mean, maybe you take that. So continues the trend. You get a first entry, second entry right here, but that's kind of in no man's land. Rides the midline. You get this lower high. Second entry doesn't set up well, so this is just a lower high. You could argue for taking that. It's far from the EMA. Get this channel up, and then it moves into a flatter channel. Let me delete these. This channel never really gets confirmed, but it felt like it was something. So yeah, it ended up being this even flatter channel. I don't really see anything in here. I wasn't ready to go long just yet. We bounce here. We get another bounce here. You might consider that because that confirms the trend channel, but I think the better entry is to wait. You might have gone long here, but this is just so congested, and it looks like we have a double bottom here. So first entry failed, second entry, you might take that. So people who got trapped short here, let's take a look at that. That's why I marked it, because this looks like a pretty convincing short entry right here. You see we got a first entry, second entry, and a lower high, and that maybe that's it. I mean, maybe if you missed the second entry, you missed the move. That could be it. So let's take a look at people who took the second entry. Did they get trapped too? It looks like they did. 1875. Yeah, they got trapped too. It's only 2 ticks. So it's just congestive. Let's look at this low. And you're going into support. So yeah, you got to have this channel drawn. And I think that's probably what happened, is you didn't have that channel drawn. We just got confirmation of it, so that's counter trend. But it rockets up, as you can see. You get a first entry, second entry, but it's just off. It's far from the EMA, but it closes in the channel, so you might take that. Then we come up here and form some congestion, and we can't go higher, and you get a first entry, failed second entry long. Honestly, I think this is the trade that I like the best all day, because it's clearly off a trend channel, but it's still not at the EMA, and I like failures at the EMA, so not the greatest entry. You get an overshoot, first hidden second entry short, it's just not a great entry. But this is clearly a range right here. So when you get this first entry, second entry, you might consider that. But this is aggressive too, because this looks like it's in a channel. But it ends up being a really good move. And then you come up here and you get a second entry again, right at that level of resistance. So yeah, I mean, maybe this isn't the best move of the day. Maybe these two are. But they're not lower highs. And that really took us into 1230. So this looks like a second entry, but it looks like people got trapped here, and really just prices are just ranging. So that's what I saw for today. Probably a day where you should walk away and not trade after like an hour or so. Because if you come in, let's say you come in at 5 o'clock, it's just chopping around. Then we go down. There's nothing really in here. And this, I don't think I would jump in here. So you're sitting there for 2.5 hours. And then we get this congestion up here that wins this over. That's almost 3 hours that you're sitting there. And you don't really have good trades. So probably something to consider. I mean, this second entry, maybe you take that. 60.25. You got room back to the EMA to scalp out, but just not a whole lot here. So I'm done for today. I hope everyone had a great day. Again, I'm probably going to be less consistent with these starting next week. I don't know what time I'll be getting them up either. So God bless you. Have a great day.